When people talk about toxic masculinity, sometimes the term can be so vague that it ends up falling into a slippery slope where masculine traits can be rejected as a whole. There's a whole plethora of individuals online that can't even stand the thought of a man looking in their general vicinity.
Feral.
Oh, sorry. Toxic masculinity implies that there is healthy masculine traits that are not toxic and is actually essential for society to run. So in the most masculine way that I possibly could, I'm going to use some of my favorite video game protagonists to try to show you how you can be a good man, even if people say that you are not. Starting off with Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher 3 being a perfect example. Geralt is a witcher.
Geralt of Rivia. Witcher. Look, already got a trade. I'm a witcher.
In his world, witchers are seen as cold, emotionless, and greedy. This is mostly fear-mongering between the peasants, farmers, and townsfolk, because we see that Geralt and the rest of the witchers from the Wolf School are actually very empathetic and warm with Ciri, the Emperor's daughter who stayed at Kaer Morhen with them in order to keep her safe and train her for a kingdom that is pursuing the ancient power that she has stored within her. Bad bitch moment, oh my god. This is just a very basic overview of the story from Witcher 3, but in order to understand my point about healthy masculinity, I feel it is good to know a little bit about the world that Geralt is in. He is generally despised with people he interacts with due to misinformation, but people's reaction to him does not bother him. He can seem cold because of the way that witchers treat being a bounty hunter. It's just a job to them. Geralt is very stoic because of the amount of value that he holds for the people he loves, Ciri, Yennefer, and Triss, alongside the witchers at Kaer Morhen. We get to see during the game just how much he will lay down in order to protect these people, affecting Ciri's life in a huge way, and even being a father figure just as a result of training and protecting her as she is a child. Kazuma Kiryu, which may seem like a stretch, is almost exactly the archetype that Geralt is.
ダメ?
わかった。好きなだけ遊ぼう。な。
Both Kiryu and Geralt in their universes are really powerful and well trained. Essentially, they are unstoppable, and as characters, they don't have glaringly obvious flaws other than little quirks that they may have. Just little quirky gal things, I don't know. How do we make a story with a character not having any flaws? Because, I'm the main character in my story, and I got a shit ton of flaws. Well, if you've ever seen Superman, the way they deal with villains in that is they make the people around you defenseless in the face of a greater evil. Kiryu is from the Yakuza series, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of games. Kiryu is not liked by many people that surround him, yet he has an in-group that establishes love back and forth deeply. He extends a lot of the same traits that Geralt has, a cold and stoic demeanor, while he navigates the chaotic outside worlds that they find themselves in. These demeanors are personas in order to protect the individuals that find themselves in groups and the groups that they find solace in, because we see the warmness and the still presence of love they emit with the individuals in the groups. To me, vulnerability and acceptance of the loved ones and courage mixed with aggression to stand up for the principles of the group is what healthy masculinity is modeled as. This leads good men to be courageous. You know what's really courageous too? That scene from Braveheart. I would do that, but this is YouTube, and I'm probably not going to do that. So when in conflict, people can see their confidence as arrogance, when in fact it's simply not true. Kiryu and Geralt don't back down, and they retaliate with their own talk. The difference between the opposition is they can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. You walk the walk, you talk the talk. They've done the work, and they have taken accurate inventory of their abilities, where the people on the outside can be lost in their pride and in themselves. To me, courage is a mixture of having a good understanding of oneself alongside stepping into the unknown. I've felt strongly to write this and record this because, for one, I've seen masculinity as a whole just get a bad rap online. For two, I actually didn't grow up with superb masculine models around me, but a lot of video game characters modeled these principles for me as I grew up alongside them. This isn't to criticize anyone around me. I simply didn't have that modeled to me hugely except for the games that I was playing at the time. Characters notably like Link, Master Chief, and Snake are all characters that are all healthy masculine archetypes. Alongside these two and exhibit assertiveness are stoic, proactive, and aggressive. The interesting thing though is that the opposition, the toxic masculine, carries around the same characteristics in all their respective games. The main difference, however, is the villain's masculinity is egocentric. Basically, a way of saying they got a fat ego. And I could go into depth of what it means to have a fat ego, but I'm gonna just boil it down to you here. If you look at a villain like Ganondorf, he is aggressive, proactive in his mission, asserts his beliefs, and can appear to be stoic if things are going his way. The main thing that sets these villains apart from the heroes is the intention with the masculinity, as it is used to push their own beliefs and take advantage of the environment and the people who surround them. All of the heroes use this for the complete opposite intention. They use these traits in order to protect and serve the individuals around them, not to be above anything, but in fact rarely seeing themselves. They act as a cog in a whole that has a job they must accomplish. The toxic masculine is power hungry. It must see itself rise to the top, use any means of getting there, even if it involves their surroundings becoming damaged, destroying them, hurting them. The healthy masculine propagates everything else upwards on their shoulders, like takes the whole thing and then just they just hold it up. So I talk about men, but this is generally genderless. This is just an archetype. Women have masculine traits, and in fact, I would want to encourage them to nurture those traits in themselves, not to one-up men, but really to become the best individuals we all can be regardless of gender. That being said, I would love to talk about what men are up against out here in this cold, hard, brutal world. Some of us, man, we got the shit end of the stick. I believe men are exposed to a lot of ancient beliefs of manliness from society still daily, even with a lot of contradicting points of view that show otherwise. These games I played had made me fall in love with the protagonists, and as a kid, I wanted to emulate their behaviors as a kid and while I grew up. We get told that we need to be jacked, that boys don't cry and show emotion. We need to be tough in every instance, and anger is the only emotion that is allowed to be expressed. The very thing that we're taught from society is not good for us is the very thing we need to be able to do in order to connect with the individuals around us. We need to be vulnerable for them. We need to, as men, show our youth that not only can you be strong, confident, and navigate the world in a stoic manner, but we can also integrate more feminine vulnerability for the people who love who we are. Be more like Geralt of Rivia and Kazuma Kiryu. Nani? Nani? And let's change the world as healthy people and not just men. So, I love you, and goodbye now.
じゃあ逆に聞くが、組長ってのはなりたいと言ってなるものなのか？トップとは何かをなし、それを積み重ねてきた人間がいつの間にか勝手になってるものだろう。違うか？
確かにな。
よし。